Yes, sir.
All right. Let's call the board meeting for January 15th to order. It's 6 o'clock. And Leah, could you take roll?
President Russ
Here.
and is Vice President Lane online?
No.
Director Larday is running late. So Director Smalling.
Here. Oh, that's Alina.
Thank you, Alina.
Go-to meeting already.
Okay.
Thank you, Alina. And Director Foltz.
Here. Okay. Any changes to the closed session agenda?
No, sir.
No. All right, great. And there any oral communications, I guess, from the public for the closed session items? No one's online, right?
No, sir.
All right. In that case, we'll adjourn and re-adjourn for the public at 6:30.
I guess they would irrigate more, but that wouldn't go into the sewer.
I'm
They would irrigate
All right.
less,
Yeah.
but that wouldn't go in.
We're going live, folks.
All right.
Okay. All right, I'd like to call the 6:30 public board meeting to order. Leah, can you take roll, please?
President Russ,
Here.
Vice President Lane, joining us remotely.
Here, and I joined at 6. I just joined on the wrong meeting I went to go to and didn't do roll call at 6. Sorry.
Oh, no, I got you down on both. Thank you. Director Larday,
Yes.
Director Smalling,
Here.
and Director Foltz.
Here. Okay, great. So there were no actionable items taken at the closed session. So we'll move on to any changes in the public agenda. Anything, Jason?
There are no changes.
No changes? And does the public have any comments that they'd like to make that are on topics that aren't on the agenda? Please, can you take the podium and introduce yourself? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Bob Elliott. I'm representing Lost Acre Drive, and I'd like to thank you, the board and general manager and staff, for moving the Felton Heights project forward. And I know there's been some progress. I've talked with Director Smalley about it, and I'm kind of through the holidays and things. I really haven't been up to date. Really, what I'd like to do is ask if you can give us any updates and tell us where things are. And I know kind of left it at the purchase of the property. I'm not sure. I know you can't tell us everything, but I'd like to know if there's anything you can convey that can bring back to the neighborhood.
It was reported at a board meeting that we have a tentative agreement with the property owner.
Okay. Right.
Nothing further at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, Garrett.
Can I share the current status of the engineering plans?
It's not on the agenda.
But it would be in response to.
All right, well,
You're
yeah.
responding to the public. Let's go for it.
So the engineering plans have been completed to a 60% level.
Great.
And those have been issued to the environmental consultant for permitting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because it's an undeveloped lot at this point. So
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Okay. So we go to unfinished business. Some of the things we had pushed off, postponed to meet our time frame last time. Quarterly reports. Is the idea that each of the department heads will give us a summary? Yep. Okay. Chris, I guess you're up.
I'll start off. So I'm not going to touch on everything in this slideshow, but once we're all done, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. The most important thing to start off, Janelle joined the team in June, which is great. It's great to have someone to help out in the environmental department, and she's been killing it so far, so that's super exciting. Let's see. We'll scroll one more slide down, or yeah, one more after that actually. And we'll talk about grants. So we've closed out both our CAL FIRE Forest Health grant that was completed earlier this year. And then we are going to be closing out our hardening water lines grant. That one we kind of determined to be infeasible, which is unfortunate, but we'll be closing that one out. On to the next slide, please. This is a super exciting slide. As today, actually, we finished our 2022 fire prevention grant, the work for it. So our last fuel reduction was implemented for that. We ended up creating defensible space around 39 sites and then 2 or 3 different roadways. So it was a super successful project. And yeah, what timing that it would wrap up today.
Nice.
And then the next one is the CAL FIRE 20, could you scroll back up, Scott? The 2025 wildfire prevention grant. So we submitted this and we received news that we were awarded this grant. So it is for $900,000 and it will create hazard tree removal along the 5-mile pipeline, a shaded fuel break along the portion of the pipeline, and access routes, and then defensible space around critical water infrastructure. So yeah, combined with the CCC grant funded crew, we'll get about a $1.5 million project there, and we'll have minimal to no costs on our side.
Oh, no match. No match. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Next up, conjunctive use. We're currently in discussions with the city of Santa Cruz, but no real further update beyond that. Once we kind of have an agreement in place with the city, we'll be able to move forward with the rest of the project. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Don't really have too much to touch on here. We talked about the habitat conservation plan already. We received an in-progress draft at the end of last year, and we are expecting the final draft in March. For the PFAS contamination settlement, we are expecting to get $365,000 from the first settlement, and there will be a second settlement coming as well, which we expect to be somewhere in the same range. That is not lump sum, will get paid out over, I think, the course of 2 or 3 years. But
I just read today that they are going through the final appeals in April of this year. And then after that, they have 45 days if they don't appeal to put it into the trust account or whatever. And then from there, it'll be paid out.
cool. Awesome. We'll scroll down one more, please. The Olympia watershed. So the Lockhart Gold shaded fuel break reached completion, I think late last month. And now the next phase of that project is we're going to be going back and treating some of the resprouting broom and other plants. So that is exciting that it was completed. And now we begin the next phase. And we've also had a number of volunteer events to help remove broom in the property, including this past Saturday. We had like 18 volunteers out there, and we pulled more than 250 pounds of broom. So that's super exciting.
Does that work out to an acre or a half acre, or what do you think? I mean,
it's hard, like, because we just spread out and kind of find where the broom is.
Yeah.
So it's hard to equate it to like an acreage. But yeah, it's great to see everyone out there. We had a Boy Scout troop out there. And so it's great to see the public getting involved. We have our biologist who provides them facts about the species and general information about the geology and natural land. And we're going to have a volunteer event every month until May. So the next one is going to be on Valentine's Day. If anyone here or watching online wants to throw some love in the air and pull some fruit from the ground.
how romantic.
Exactly, right? Good way to start the day.
Okay.
Let's, if you can scroll down to events, should be a few down. Yeah. Upcoming event that I just wanted to point out is the Santa Cruz Mountain Stewardship Network, which we are a member of, is having a Science and Stewardship Symposium on January 30th at the Grove, which used to be Coconut Grove, at the boardwalk. And that'll be an exciting time. It's kind of bringing together science practitioners as well as land managers to talk about how we're managing our land and the science behind it. And I think that's all I had.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Let me just open it up. Are there any board members that have a question for Chris?
Yes.
Okay. Mark and then Bob.
I saw a mention of their discussions with the city of Santa Cruz. Just curious as to what. Since
Yeah, Jason, do you want to touch on that?
We are discussing basically what to do with the 313 acre feet of Loch Lomond water and how we can, looking at a three-way deal with the city of Scotts Valley and the city of Santa Cruz.
okay, all right, thanks. That's
Okay.
all that I have. This point.
Yeah, following up on that a little bit though, because the conjunctive use program in terms of our ability to take water from any source and deliver it to any destination really has nothing to do with Loch Lomond water.
True.
Per se.
Right.
And the issue that we had with Santa Cruz before was their threat of a lawsuit if we didn't go through a full EIR process, not a mitigated negative declaration. Are conversations with them addressing that at all?
Yes, and they are far more open to at least the person I'm speaking to is far more open to having us do the conjunctive use and doing a negative mitigation. So we have nothing but positive meetings, and I think we're right at the finish line of getting it done.
Well, that would be good because,
And plus, we have 5 years of data to back up.
well, yeah, I mean, it's like we've been running the district as a unified whole since 2020.
The silver lining of the CTU fires.
Yeah.
So, based on what you're saying, Jason, and Bob's question, we've already spent money on the EIR aspect rather than going back to negative declaration. Can we get that concluded then, knowing that?
Yeah, we'll find the best method to get it over the finish line.
Get it wrapped
I mean,
up
if we
so that-
if we so far invested into the EIR that it just makes sense to finish it,
That's
that's what
That was my next question.
that's my feel.
Is, you know, the original estimate of the EIR was about $1 million. Thank you, Santa Cruz. So how much of that have we spent so far?
that I don't know off the top of my head.
We have not reinitiated the EIR because basically we've been waiting, gathering data, and you need a project description before you can determine the impact.
Yeah.
And this water is going to be part of that project description. And so for us, we need to figure out what this.
Okay.
Wait a sec. When you say this water, you mean the Loch Lomond
Yeah.
water? I'm really uncomfortable with the notion of tying Loch Lomond to our program.
I didn't think it was before.
It wasn't.
I didn't think it was.
That's part of our total water supply, and our water supply is
I-
what is analyzed for.
But what we were looking at, I don't know, 3
Guys-
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this process has been going on for years
Yeah.
now.
Uh,
And I really am hoping that we're not introducing more complexity into it that will actually derail it. Or sign us up to do something with 313 acre feet that it's not necessarily clear we have the funding to be able to treat it.
I would argue that if we did not include the Loch Lomond water in our analysis,
Mhm.
that would be beautiful grounds for them to go ahead and sue us because we're not including our likely.
I don't
Let me suggest this.
put it off to.
Let's have a more, let's, maybe there's something we can talk about, because to me, this is a serious thing.
Or you can pull 2 board members in if you want
Doing an ad
to.
hoc.
Not even an ad hoc committee. You can have a brief discussion with, but I do want to delve into this further because we spent a lot of time questioning staff and where they were headed. 4 years ago now, where they were headed with this, to begrudgingly say, okay. I want to make sure that, you know, the institutional knowledge between Bob and I gets incorporated into this. because we were the only ones sitting
Yeah.
in that discussion.
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, I'm very glad to hear though that things are going well / better with Santa Cruz, because the previous manager was not, I mean, that was the hammer. So this is really good news. I want to thank Santa Cruz for being open to that kind of a discussion. Okay, you had more questions.
No, that was the
All right,
point.
so I have several questions. Some of them are relatively small. Just a sort of personal request, which is when we refer to Brackenbury and Forest Springs, I really don't like to continue to use the word consolidation in association with that. We're not consolidating them. And to say that we are really sends a confusing message into our community, especially given where we are with that process. For the vegetation remediation around our infrastructure, what happens to the vegetation that is removed?
Yeah. So in some places it can just be locked and scattered, so they just chop it up and disperse it. We have a limit as to how thick that can get. And also in some sensitive habitats, we can't leave any at all, like in Olympia. So for that, they haul it off.
Okay, and is this a per hourly thing, or is it and so they have to turn in hours that they spend at each
Yeah.
place?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, there's other costs as well, obviously vehicles, equipment, whatever, but yeah.
And are those work hours or total hours? Like, I'm assuming they take breaks and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Breaks, I mean, driving to and from the site.
Okay, great. I'm really happy to hear that we're getting a lot of money for clearing the 5 miles. That's great. The ongoing maintenance of that, as with all things in the public sector, is the real issue, right? And so I would encourage us collectively to think about that. That's something we can continue to get grants for, given that it's fire prevention and there seems to be still a lot of money directed at that. Or do we gonna have to assume that cost ourselves? And that would also cover, would need to address Peavine and any other infrastructure we have that is in that area that we don't want to burn in the next fire. Because there will be a next fire. So I was just throwing that out there as something that needs to go into a maintenance plan that actually gets executed.
Right.
Okay. Next one is, so on the conservation, Sandhills having that conservation plan. It's been about a month since the original status report was put together. Have any other tasks been completed?
Not in particular that I know.
We did receive the draft.
Right, yeah, we received the draft.
Well, so the status report that was provided in the same agenda actually showed a rollback of one of the tasks from the July report. So instead of 3 tasks being completed, there was only 2. So I'm not sure how to juxtapose that with we got a draft report, because it still sounds to me like our consultant is not necessarily got this all in hand yet. And we're supposed to be getting a final draft in 2 months, 2.5 months. We're into the 8th year of a 1-year project. And so I am concerned about this. And I'm also concerned about when we say things like operational questions served as project roadblocks for years. It's very easy to say the prior administration was responsible for the lack of progress over 6 years. I don't see any evidence of that. I'm concerned that when we say things like that without evidence, it doesn't look very good. So if there is evidence, I'd like to see it. Otherwise, I'm assuming that we're kind of in the low priority mode for our consultant. That if there's nothing else going on, we get work done. Because after 7 years, that's kind of where we're at. On the PFAS contamination settlement, do we actually use the money for remediation? Is there anything that we need to, I mean, if we're getting money for PFAS contamination, what do we have to do?
I would lean on Jesse for that, if there's anything in the.
Yeah, this,
Treatment plant.
we're not exploring any treatment techniques we have one well that has some PFAS hits, low level PFAS hits, and there hasn't been any treatment techniques explored yet there. The numbers that are coming in are falling pretty well below the MCL or the proposed MCL that takes place in maximum.
Interesting, we get settlement money for something that we don't really have a problem with. I mean, if we're gonna get settlement money, I think we should use it for remediation.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw that out there as another potential agenda item to talk about, particularly if we're looking at close to, what was it, $700,000? Between the two tranches.
Definitely a 360.
Yeah. Okay, in the Olympia watershed, you mentioned retreatment of sprouting plants. What will that retreatment consist of?
So currently we are going to do flaming. So you bring a blowtorch of sorts out there and flame the seedlings. This is only effective within a very short time period when they're a certain size and during winter, so you don't start fires. But right now is that time. So we are going to treat the shaded fuel break because it's pretty flat and like easy to treat using that treatment. It's a more costly and slower method of treating this as compared to some other things, but we think it'll be effective with where they're at right now. So we're trying to hit it hard right now.
Okay. Fire good. Okay.
And that doesn't hurt natives?
Generally in this area, there aren't a ton, which is why it's kind of more effective.
It's doable.
I had a blower, the flame torch, as he was calling it, down in Ridgecrest, and it's really localized. So,
which is why it kind of takes a long time.
I see.
But our consultant said he actually got a new toy, which is like a little push cart that has like multiple torches on it, so that you can get a bigger area. So yeah, it sounded like he was excited to get to break it out.
Fire good, tools good. Okay, I'm happy to hear we're not using the garlic. So let's pen that for later. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Brian, did you have any questions?
I don't. I'll just comment. Congratulations on the PFAS settlement. That's fantastic. When that was announced 3 years ago as a process that was starting, I reached out to the district, coordinated on building awareness around that opportunity. The PFAS issue is going to increase costs of everything: sampling, treating, dealing with all sorts of stuff for the rest of time. And it's nice that we're getting compensated for that burden. And I guess I'll also just say that the congratulations on the grants, fantastic, and look forward to a good year ahead.
Thank you. Alina, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I kind of had more of a question about like what was missing from the reports. I know that during the environmental committee, Chris, you had said that the EPA was going to come out to the Bear Creek Estates wastewater treatment facility. What was there anything maybe to report on that?
Yeah, so we applied for EPA technical assistance, which through that they sent out a provider, which he has been out to the site and he has been working with us. I think there was just somewhat of a mix up between the verbiage of calling it the EPA versus RCAC. So yeah, our consultant that was out there and has been helping us out is through the EPA technical assistance.
Okay, that's all. Thank you for the updates on all this. I really appreciate it and all the hard work you put in this past year.
Okay. And I don't have any questions, Chris, but also congratulations on the grants and making a lot of progress here. So thank you. Okay. Are there any comments from the public on this item? Okay, no one online? All right, let's move on to the next item, which is is that the annual audited financials?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
First time quarterly.
Sorry.
There's other departments.
We have.
Yeah, other departments.
We have a financial quarterly.
Right.
Yeah, so these
That's
are
easy.
the financials as of 9:30. The operating cash, we had about 11.5 million. Restricted was at 1.8, bringing our total to about 13.3 million. For our revenues, we were at 26% of our operating revenue, which tracks. For our non-operating revenue, we were at 9%, which is fair considering property taxes, the main source of our non-operating revenue, come in December and April. And here's just a chart showing the different revenues. And then for our expenses, for our operating expense, we hit 16%. And our non-operating expense, we were at 24%, which again is normal because we paid the principal and interest payments for one of our loans, and then we'll pay the other one. So it'll balance out. And then for our capital, the positive numbers are the funding sources like grants and the fire recovery surcharge, and then the negative numbers are the expenditures. So with capital projects, there's always the timing issue of funding versus spending. So that's why you're seeing 49% there, but that will fluctuate throughout the year. And then there is a chart of our expenses. And then this last one is our consumption. So the blue dotted line, those are our budgeted unit. And then the orange line is our actual unit. So as you can see, it's tracking very well. And that's all I have, but I'm open to questions.
Bob, do you have any questions?
I do have a couple,
Okay.
and some observations. So, thank you for the report on the cash balances. We have more restricted cash by policy than what's showing here, right? Because of our reserve policy, which hasn't yet changed. So whenever that policy does change, assuming it does, I think it would be really beneficial for the community to understand what cash is being set aside in these reports, rather than saying, hey, we just have all this cash. I think that kind of clarity will help people understand that we are doing the prudent thing to protect the district in the event of the next natural disaster, because that's just a matter of when, not if, in this area. Also in the statement of revenues, historically, we have broken out the revenues for the CZU surcharge. I didn't see that broken out here. And the reason for that is that that's not cash that can be used for any purpose. It can only be used for CZU recovery. And when it was voted on specifically with the understanding that in all reports going forward, that cash would be broken out separately in all reports, so that people would understand that it's not sort of general purpose cash. I am a little concerned about the budgeted units running at, well, the actual units running. I mean, it's good from a conservation point of view, but from a revenue point of view, I'm hopeful that we'll see that curve go back up. So it's either on it or slightly above. Water is getting so expensive, and we've seen this over the last 10 years. When the first drought surcharges were put into place, that when people conserve, the water consumption doesn't necessarily come back. And I think we're at the point now where we're, I think either the fourth or fifth year in a series of wet years or almost wet years, like slightly above average, slightly below average, and a couple of really wet years. So one would hope that we might think about taking the drought stage 1 off. I don't know that we need that, and maybe that would encourage people to bring the line back up a little bit more so that at least matches the budget. We're going to need every dollar we can get. And I think that is it. Thanks very much.
Mark,
I don't have any questions.
okay, Brian,
No questions. Thank you.
Lena, any questions for Sherry?
No questions. Thank you for putting this report together, though. Appreciate it.
I just had a quick question, actually, and it was on this diagram. I look at that and I think, sort of echoing what Bob said, think that actually they did match pretty closely the first half of the year, but then they kind of varied a fair bit, and that's more than 10%, 15%. And the other thing that struck me is we will hear later on in the audited report that we actually had a 17% increase in water usage from 2024 to 2025. And that was $1.3 million, which is huge. And I just wondered if you had any insight into, was that just an anomaly, or does that track 2025's usage? I mean, how do it just didn't seem to make sense to me, because that's a big number. It's not in the noise.
Sure.
Any thoughts?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here during the last budget, so I don't know how those numbers came about other than, looking at a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I can tell you that Heather did budget very conservatively, especially when it came to revenue. But unfortunately, I don't have any of the reasonings behind.
Okay. Well, and I actually think, just to be clear, that this was actual water usage and revenues derived. So we actually realized, compared to fiscal year 2024, we actually realized an extra 1.3 million in revenue from year to year. And so I don't know what would have generated that. Yeah.
Some of that was related to when Big Basin was taking large quantities of water to the tune of, I think it was as much as $90,000 a month in some months that they were taking. And that would have been in the beginning of fiscal year 24.
I have to say, I'm not sure where those numbers are coming from. So I'm looking at Schedule 4 on the report, and actually it's showing the water sales decreasing by 10 acre feet in the 25 fiscal year. So, and I mean, it's been on a pretty steady decrease since 2021. And before that, from 2014, it kind of went down, and then it started going back up. And then 2021 hit, started going back down again. I think most of the increase might have been just due to price increase. Either that or the numbers don't match. Somebody got bad numbers.
Yeah, it could be price of water. Is that when the rates were increased, that fiscal year 20?
Yeah, we did have a rate increase.
Yeah.
It was a 10% increase.
It was, so the first year was 10, second year was 10, then 7, 7, 7.
I know it went down. I think that's what it was, or it was 8, 8. But
yeah, but I think most of the increase is probably just due to pricing, because at least assuming this number is correct, we're basically flat.
Okay. All right. Well, that would explain.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a 34% quote loss, part of which might be due to maybe some Big Basin usage. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe the combination of sales to Big Basin and the price increase accounted for that. Okay. I think that's no, that's it for, I guess, questions. Okay, any questions from the public? No one online, Scott?
With people online, but nobody got their hand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
No questions.
All right. Very good. Thank you, sure. Okay. Who's next up?
That's me.
Okay,
All right. So Q3 2025 operations report. Before I get started, I just want you guys know this is work in progress. This is my first round of operations quarterly reports. So there's going to be some refinement going on. I'll take your guys' feedback and go from there. So
can you tell us units on the left and right
yeah,
axes?
so
Okay.
so on the left is millions or gallons of water produced, and on the right is kilowatt hour usage from PG&E. So
Okay.
this first graph is just representing our production. The blue part of the bar graph is surface water, the green part is groundwater, and the pink line graph is kilowatt usage per hour. So total production in Q3 2025 was about 183 million gallons. The 5-year Q3 average is about 180 million gallons. Q3 2025 total production percentage of surface water was 46%, with the 5-year Q3 average being 38%. The total production percentage of surface water over the past 4 quarters has been greater than the 5-year quarterly average for each quarter. This was achieved through the district's ability to maximize conjunctive use between the SLV and SLV Felton system under the current conjunctive use emergency permit. The goal is to decrease our overall PG&E usage as we increase our total production percentage of surface water. So what the goal of this graph is to represent the more surface water we use, ideally we're going to use less PG&E. I mean, it's just, we know that it costs more money to pump out of the ground. I'm trying to correlate this in a graph. There is some refinement to do, as you can see, but there is a little bit of correlation there. And really with all my graphs, the idea is to be a performance indicator to see if we're drifting one way or the other.
I think it's dynamite. So the kilowatt hours are on the right. So for instance, 500,000 kilowatt hours, that's per quarter?
Yes.
Per quarter.
Yeah.
And I don't know what our average rate is that we pay. Is it like 20 cents a kilowatt hour?
I got me on that. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope it's that low. Yeah, I'm worried it's not.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Do you happen to know what our annual PG&E bill is?
I'll take that.
All right. I mean, I think it's a great goal because you're right. Water and electricity go together, and it would be nice to figure out a way to bring that down and have a strategy for it.
Yeah, when putting this together, I do remember now trying to put the PG&E dollar amount. There was some difficulties because there's yearly charges, there's yearly credits. So we're going to have to figure out a way to refine those numbers.
Do they have a demand charge too, or is it just usage? Do you know? Is there a peak, like a peak demand charge?
Yeah, we do the peak, peak. Yeah, we have a time of use program in SCADA, so we definitely have peak. But we also have solar, so once a year we'll get a net metering charge and that kind of deal. So I attempted to do the numbers at first, but they weren't added.
Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jesse.
No.
All right.
Next slide.
Yeah.
All right. So this next one is USA locates that are requested from the district or requested that the district locates. So this one, although we don't have much control over how much locates we have to do, I feel like it is important. So total number of USA locates in Q3 2025 was 781. The 5-year Q3 average was 511. Q3 2025 USA locates have increased by about 53% from the 5-year Q3 average. And as I just explained, although the district has no control over the number of USA locates requested, it is important to illustrate the overall increase as this ultimately results in additional staff time required to complete the locates. And I'll just say this Q4 2025 was also a very busy quarter for locating. Next slide. So this graph represents the blue line is the 2025 quarter. The green line is the 5-year quarterly average, and just how many main leaks we had that we recorded. So the number of main leaks in Q3 2025 was 65. The 5-year Q3 average is 66. They remain consistent with the 5-year Q3 average. The hope is the main leaks will decrease as the district becomes more aggressive, replacing the outdated mains.
And how do we identify a main leak?
We have a monthly leak report. So anytime we have a main break, a service order is created, and from that service order, we pull that out to a monthly leak report.
What was your question? How do we know that there is one?
Well, how do we identify them? I mean, as opposed to leaks that are always there and we don't know, I guess. So it has to be like seepage or a burst or something more major, right?
Yeah, to be clear, these are leaks we responded to.
We responded.
Yeah, and hopefully we're responding to all leaks that we know about.
Right.
So,
I'm assuming that most of these are customers call them in.
but yeah, most of them, I'd say the majority of them are customers calling. That's true.
Okay.
All right. Next slide, Scotty. Next one is going to be our EOL or end of life meters versus cellular meters in our system. So starting in 2015, the district began installing cellular read meters. One benefit of these meters is they allow the district and its customers the ability to track consumption in real time. Cellular read meters in the system as of Q3 2025 was 51%. Since 2021, the district has replaced 2,010 meters with an average of 402 per year. Based on an average of 402 meter changeouts per year in the upcoming Ben Lomond meter changeout project, the district anticipates that 61% of meters will be cellular by the end of 2026. The grant-funded Ben Lomond meter changeout project scheduled for 2026 will replace 443 end-of-life or EOL meters with new cellular read meters. The cost benefit of replacing EOL meters is an overall improvement in system-wide meter accuracy. Over time, due to normal wear and tear, meters tend to under-register the amount of water delivered to customers, ultimately leading to revenue loss. An initial meter accuracy study of 25 meters showed an average accuracy of 92%, which is 6.5% below the manufacturer's accuracy threshold. Based on this small sample size, it is estimated that about 14.8 million gallons a year, equaling around $215,000 in revenue, is lost to the inaccuracy of the remaining EOL meters in our system. Once the Ben Lomond meter changeout project is completed, a more extensive meter accuracy study will be completed. So that's a long way to say older meters under register and it's costing us money.
Oh, that's great.
So the next few pie graphs are just going to, they're just going to show the progress of us replacing these older meters with the cellular meters. So in 2020, we had 25%. 2021, we had 32%. 2022 was 33%. 2023 was 36%. 2024 was 47%. And by the end of Q3 2025, we had 51%. And that'll take any questions.
Okay, Mark.
If we're losing that much, you think on an annual basis?
Yes.
In revenue, what's the cost benefit to getting some other staff to go, if we have the grants to any more aggressively or to replace these more on our own dime?
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're currently looking at with the grant to get temporaries to change out these meters quickly, and then also use those temporaries to do some of the capital improvements that we have planned. So that is the current direction that we're trying to go.
I did do some quick math, and if we were to decide to replace all the remaining end-of-life meters tomorrow, it costs right around $1 million. So
How many are there?
there are, I got that. It's 3,833 remaining end-of-life meters, and we estimated probably about $300 per meter with material and time to get it installed.
The district is also switching over to ultrasonic meters, which don't have any moving parts like the mutating disc do. They have a expected 20-year lifespan.
And another benefit of the ultrasonic meters is they register the low flow a lot more accurate than the mutating disc meters.
Okay, all right. So the questions I have on operations.
Alina, any questions for Jesse?
No, I don't have any questions on that, Jesse. I think you did a great first time report. So thank you for that.
Yeah, any feedback, I plan on making little adjustments, and I know that, there's things that can be improved. So
No, it's a lot of information. Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, so when I joined the board a long time ago, one of the first things I asked Rick was, can we do graphs? So this is really outstanding.
Hey.
Thank you very much for doing this. It's a lot faster to be able to assimilate information when it's presented in a graphic form, particularly the kind of information you're presenting here. So really outstanding effort. You answered some questions that I had about things. Surface good, well bad, pretty much, right? You know, I think one of the things that would be interesting is to be able to show this perhaps on our website, maybe on
The
the
idea,
webpage.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
The idea is that with the new website, we will have some KPI graphs
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just fantastic because, I mean, obviously we're in this wet cycle right now and hopefully we'll be able to use a lot of surface water, particularly out of Fall Creek, because that's very productive. And maybe we'll even get into September, which would be kind of nice. I do have some, I've just suggestions on graphs, time progression, charts or lines are better if you're going to use pie charts.
Yeah,
Put multiple ones on a page so you can see the flow, that kind of
I
thing.
caught that. Yeah.
Yeah. But outside of that, the fact that you're even doing it is a fantastic thing for the board and I think ultimately for yourself.
I should have, I said that also. I will echo that. In past years, when there was reporting from the operations department, it was so minimal and just repetitive.
Yeah.
Month to month to month, month. I got to the point where I wasn't even looking at it. So
Yeah.
good.
This
Good.
got the attention, didn't it?
It did.
The only
It
thing
did.
the only thing I was going to ask about is, are we still keeping the charts of the well depths?
Yeah, we're doing our monthly soundings or well readings.
So at some point I would like to see those.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if that's a quarterly thing or a half year thing or what have you.
That
But
quarterly. We do it monthly, so we
yeah,
can.
quarterly would be fine. Just add it into your standard
Trend.
quarterly report. The only thing I'm interested in is it above or below and what's the trend? And by above or below, I mean the end, right? So, but yeah, this is great. Thank you for doing it, Jesse. This is really, really good.
I think you're getting 5 thumbs up here, Jesse. I had just a quick one for you. Maybe some of the research you can do going forward is, I don't know if the SCADA data tells us when a pump is on. I assume it does.
It does.
And if there's a way to easily translate, especially for our larger pumps, how long they're on and then what, of course, their kilowatt rating is, so that we have a sort of a more direct number for, when our pumps are on, we're using, I don't know, 500 kilowatts or whatever.
Yeah.
And here's what that's costing us, so that we actually see more direct correlation between the pumps and then that allows us to look at, then subtract those numbers from the rest of our electric bill and say, okay, so how is the other electricity being used? If the pumps are 80%, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But if they're only half, then it's maybe an opportunity to sort of dive into the next level and see where that other usage is coming from.
Yeah, we'll look into that. I will say, reviewing the PG&E bills, the wells really jump out at you. It's thousands, where just the booster stations, the tanks are in the hundreds. So
Yeah.
The highest cost is the
PG&E.
pumps from the
And
wells.
the number I remember reading a long time ago about PG&E is that I think we spend $1 million a year with them. I hope it's not that high, but I think it might be. So it's a huge
Yeah, Lee
number.
did a quick calculation.
300,000 or 400,000.
700,000.
700.
700? Okay.
It varies from like 45,000 to 60,000 months.
Okay. So maybe about 700, you think, over the year. Okay, well,
So just for comparison purposes, when I joined, it was about 350.
so you joined 40 years ago.
Oh,
7 years. Hey, no, think of 7 years, that's 10% a year increase.
I know, you're right. That's crazy. Well, and of course, the rates have gone up,
I mean,
but I think it's mostly our usage. Yeah. I think that's really interesting.
Biggest thing we can do to
Yeah.
reduce our PG&E bill is maximize our surface water, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
that's
a
absolutely-
strategy from operations standpoint. That's what we're always looking to do.
I mean, and actually that brings up kind of another metric, which is kilowatt hours per acre foot. Right? When we pump up an acre foot out of a well, what does it cost us?
Okay.
And when we take surface water, what does that cost us? Because that's kind of a really, hopefully not a hard number to get at, but that, I think your intuition is right on.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice just to have some numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And include treatment costs in that also, because surface requires more treatment.
More treatment,
as well. But
Yeah.
just another cost factor.
No, you want cost of sales.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Okay, good. Any other questions? All right.
Could I just share, so the Department of Water Resources used to have a grant program specifically for water projects that save energy. And that has been ended, unfortunately, but there are 2 grant funding programs that support the transition from surface water to groundwater. And they have multiple criteria and scoring that would look favorably on energy savings and the reduced use of groundwater, especially in an overdrafted basin.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'll send you those links for
Sounds
that.
good. Thank you.
Great.
That's all I got. Thanks.
Good. Public comment.
Okay.
Public.
Oh, yeah, any public comments, please?
I have a question on the first slide.
All right.
I'm sorry. Can you
Yeah.
come up to the mic?
Would you mind? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We want to put you on the hot seat there.
Okay.
Okay.
I just had an observation or a question on the slide. I noticed between first quarter August in 2024 and first quarter 2025. It looks like the groundwater usage went. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Second quarter 2025 and second quarter. How about this one? Oh, that's the average and then this.
Yeah,
Like the groundwater usage went down, but the
Yeah, one's a 5-year average.
One's a 5-year quarterly average.
Okay.
That's something I can improve on the graph is explaining what.
Okay, yeah, because it looked like the groundwater usage went down, but the power went up.
Let's see. There is some refinement that needs to be done though.
Okay.
That's a good point.
And in fairness to Jesse, it's sometimes hard because PG&E is not
There's
always on time with their bills.
and there's going to be a lag
A lag,
in
okay.
that. What he's looking at. I have to back correlate. When did we?
So, yeah, I just wondered why that.
Yeah.
No, that's a good observation.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? Anyone online, Scott?
Nobody have any questions?
Okay. Let's see. We have another report coming up. I think so,
I
right?
think Gary got to do his at the last.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went last time.
Oh,
Okay.
so no hot seat today. Okay.
I would love to talk about any.
Yeah, you're just dying. You just need to get one of these fellows, these gentlemen, to come up and ask a question. So
Sure,
it opens
my
the door
pleasure
for you.
to talk about
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we don't have that on the agenda, so I think we need to move on. All right. I think we're now talking about the pump station fire hardening project, right?
Yes, thank you, President Russ and fellow directors. The matter before the board is the award of a construction contract for the Integrated Regional Water Management Grant for pump station fire hardening. Staff is recommending to award the project to the low bidder, Cabinex Construction and Engineering. Staff called all 3 references provided by Cabinex Construction and Engineering. I was able to get a hold of 2 of the references. And the first one was from Niagara Bottling. I spoke with Levi Pomerantz. He's the continuous improvement manager. Cabinex Construction Engineering built a flood wall, installed a drainage pump that was 5 horsepower. It was a $162,000 project. I also was able to get a hold of Louis Narahanho, the senior operations manager at Niagara Bottling. And they had built a brand new facility and they needed an access platform as like a tenant improvement project. And so Cavanex Construction Engineering provided design drawings, fabrication of the access platform, site fit up. It was $160,500 project. So staff developed the plans for the bidding process. Would it be possible to share my screen, Scott?
Sure, maybe it help. Go for it.
So in the CZU fire, one of our pump stations was damaged. And in April of 2021, we put out an RFP to remove the wooden roof and replace it with a metal roof. This is the Riverside Grove Pump Station. We were able to get a bid of $26,620.35 in April of 2021. This was to replace a 14-foot by 14-foot roof on the existing CMU building. That's 196 square feet. We did have to pay a $721 change order to change the gauge of the corrugated metal roofing from 29 gauge to 24 gauge. So the total project cost came in at $27,349.73. This was used as an example in the bid document to show bidders the design intent of the replacement roof. The actual members used were actually carport frames, and those were mounted on top of the CMU building. And then rigid insulation was installed on the interior of the metal sheathing. Hat channels were used across the frames, and the corrugated metal roofing was tech screwed to the hat roof purlins, and flashing was provided around the seams to make it watertight. So that is the basic premise of this project. We are looking at replacing the roof at 5 different sites. That would be the Redwood Park Pump Station, the Nina Pump Station, the Blackstone Pump Station, Ralston Pump Station, and Echo Pump Station. They have different configurations at each site. And part of the job is for the contractor to provide engineered deferred submittals that show how the frames are going to be fabricated and connected to the existing CMU. They have the option to use frames similar to what we did at Riverside Grove. They could use stick frame with cold formed steel that you see in a lot of commercial buildings. You could use open web steel joists, which you might see at like a Costco. And those are typically made with steel angles, and it makes a truss so you can clear span wall to wall. The main requirement is that it is not wood, so it would be non-combustible if there were another wildfire and sparks flying through the air. So the district did receive 3 bids. The low bid was $224,250. The second bid was $255,000, and the highest bid was $495,000. Staff is recommending we go with the low bid. With that, I can take any questions you have.
Okay. Alina, let's start with you. Do you have any questions for Garrett?
No, I'm really thankful that you ended up calling the references on the contractor that you're suggesting that we award this to. I'm just making sure that they do good work, and I'm really excited to see more of our infrastructure getting fire hardened. So I don't really have any questions in particular. Thank you.
Brian, anything?
I don't have questions. Thanks for walking us through it. Looks good.
And Mark?
I heard you contacted references. Did I miss what the references said?
They had positive feedback regarding.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And in fact,
Okay.
he worked
All I needed to know, man, positive feedback. That's great. That was
Dissed
enough,
him.
right? Yep. Yeah. Okay, that's my only question.
Well, I did ask earlier about what the size was of these roofs, and I mean, I have to say, this seems to be extraordinarily expensive for the size of roofs that we're looking
140 a
at.
square foot.
It's in some of the cases at $500 a square foot. What accounts for that kind of expense? And let's say my concern
Yeah.
here is when we do things with grant funding, and obviously the contractors know that it's grant funding, I'm concerned that maybe we get a little bit of the subsidy effect. Where they know it's not coming out of your pocket 100%. So, things get increased a little bit. Is there anything else about this project that would account for that kind of extraordinarily high pricing?
I would say that, because based on the Riverside Grove project at $27,000, staff was anticipating 5 roof replacements to be in the neighborhood of $150,000. The low bid coming in at $224,250 could probably be explained due to the fact that we were having a contractor with a Class A license do the installation. They are required to have a performance bond and a payment bond, and the insurance requirements that we would have for $1 million project is still being applied to this smaller project. I think if we could use a smaller contractor for this kind of utilitarian project where we're just putting a simple roof on a non-habitable structure, we might be able to get better prices if we would lessen the requirements on the bidders. So I think, and then the other thing I would say is that if we could self-perform, that would be the best deal for the district. And then we could do things at cost.
I'm in favor. I mean, I'm looking at Ralston here, 69 square feet. I mean, this doesn't seem, and yet it's almost a $32,000 effort. Can we go for different kinds of contractors? Do we need to be putting this kind of requirement on them?
Because this is a certified roofing contractor, right? If it's Class A.
A Class C general contractor's license is kind of a specialty, like if you're a plumber or a carpenter. A Class B is for constructing buildings, and then a Class A is kind of like the best license you can get. You can, do these larger public jobs.
So let me follow up on that then. Garrett, you're the one that's asking the question. So I think it's incumbent upon you and Jason to answer your own question of, can we use I don't think we're going to say no as a board.
I'm sure not.
So I don't expect an answer tonight,
Sure.
But I expect the two of you, and I don't know if it takes, there's some other reasons from either financial or legal that say we should be doing that. But if you're asking the question, go find out the answers to that question for us.
We can check with legal on that for sure. but
Yes.
My question to the board then is, are we okay with, because we were gonna get the temporary labor to do the meter exchanges. Can we just do that now and do these roof change outs?
Who would
Why not?
supervise that?
Oh, we'll have somebody from staff still supervising.
Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, what's being done isn't complicated.
Typical construction jobs have a superintendent and then a foreman at the job site, and then you have the laborers that do the actual work.
Is the work immediate and necessary? We need this done in a timely manner, being now
To meet grant schedule.
to meet the grant schedule.
Exactly.
Then do we have the resources to go source materials, to get the appropriate staffing, to be able to hire, to be able to utilize temporaries? I don't know, but it seems to me that if we've got everything else teed up now to fit in with the grant and do that, I don't doubt that for future, it's not a bad idea. Consider that.
Can I ask some questions here? What is the deadline on the grant and can we get an extension?
Can't get an extension. The deadline is mid or late 2027.
Oh.
Well,
We have
okay,
some time.
So then my
So
next,
I will withdraw my comment.
so then my next question is, look, I mean, I want to get these things done and I do want to get them done in a timely fashion, but I'm also concerned about making sure that we're being good stewards of the free money that we're getting from the California taxpayers. This just seemed extraordinarily expensive, and thanks for explaining why it might be because of the Class A requirement. I don't see, would Class A be the kind of companies we'd hire to like put in our big water mains and that sort of thing?
That's correct.
Yeah, build tanks.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't see requiring that level of expertise.
I guess the other expense aside from legal would probably, each of these has to be engineered.
It's a deferred submittal. So when you go to buy a roof truss, typically the manufacturer has engineers on staff
that information.
that would provide the submittal. And then, so really what the general contractor does is he facilitates the construction by getting it delivered. He has equipment to lift it on top. He provides restrooms, drills, all the
So,
necessary equipment for the laborers to do the work.
How many square feet total are the 5 sheds?
The total square feet is 735 square feet. Where it comes out to $305 a square foot.
Okay. So three.
I want to propose that we pause this evening on approving Cavex's contract. I'd like to suggest that staff go back and think about the questions that are being asked, either on the contractor licensing or the suggestion of temporary, bringing on temporaries, and how would we then source material, get equipment, have somebody supervising appropriately, and the rest of that? Because if we can develop that as a concept, yeah.
And
I
we
mean,
have
we've
more
talked
than
about
just
a
this 5 to
construction
do.
Yeah, we're talking about a
Yeah, this is phase one. So
Right.
phase two is going to be a full building replacement, including CMU walls with a metal roof. We've identified the big steel pump station as the first candidate for the full replacement.
Right, but that's not the item that's in front of us here, right?
Correct. It has to do with the grant. So that would be the total of the grant is $610,000. We have $300,000 in the fiscal year budget currently. We have another $310,000 coming on July 1st.
But that's for the roof replacements that we're talking about.
It's for both.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But the motion in front of us tonight.
The motion for tonight is to award the contract.
Right, okay.
And just a quick aside question. What's the purpose of the insulation on the inside of the roof?
I mean, I guess it's to keep the motors at a constant temperature. I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure
I-
exactly.
Because I honestly wonder, even from a fire hazard point of view, if that's advisable.
Well, that was one of the other questions I asked, and the answer that Jason sent was, it is. I mean, it can be special protective equipment required for firefighters. Because it can be toxic if the insulation caught fire.
Right, and most, if it's the foam insulation, most of that's quite flammable,
Yes,
So
right?
it is.
wait,
Yeah.
is the question, why do we need insulation?
No,
Well, I wonder, do we need it? Because I'm worried it's a fire hazard.
I mean, I accepted the fact that it's some max foam insulation, right? So,
Do we need insulation is the question I'm hearing from you, Bob.
Mhm.
And I think I hear Jesse.
That's a tough one for me to answer. Sound jumps in my head, and it could be a sound barrier. They make insulation that's fire retardant. I would imagine that's the kind of insulation they're using. They're not, no.
Or not?
Okay, so that's
I mean, there's electrical equipment, the SCADA equipment's in there, communication type equipment,
not
Yeah,
condensation.
but
condensation.
Yeah, but it's only the ceiling, it's not the walls or.
Well, the walls are CMU blocks filled with grout. I mean, so those have an insulation property just
Already,
based
okay.
on the mass.
So maybe that's the reason.
There's
And then
another,
you
there's
put in
another,
a corrugated metal, it's 24 gauge, it's
but
thin.
there's another question here that's being posed that we're in
Maybe some more research on that.
Well, if we're pausing on to my suggestion,
We can look at it, definitely, but I mean, and I can only speak from my perspective, everything was insulated because
well,
it's hot.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't know, I
completely
don't know what the
different
internal temperatures would be
temperatures.
here on a bare
Yeah.
metal roof.
right.
If it's in
But
the sun.
if there's a delta of, I don't know, 20,000 of value engineering here, but taking that out of I don't know.
We build ourselves, we don't even what we want.
Well,
All right, well, it
Yeah.
sounds like we're tabling it for a while.
Okay.
And maybe having
that's
a
my
relook.
suggestion.
Yeah,
Should
no,
we inform the
I-
bidders that we're rejecting all bids, or should we leave it open still?
How long can you keep Cavex's bid available?
How long is it good for?
Yeah, how long is it good for?
I don't know that we have a specified expiration date
Right.
on.
Generally, the bidders will put that, generally it's a 90-day, this bid's valid for, so
Yeah,
go back and look at that.
probably
I
somewhere in
think we're
there.
still okay.
Yeah, we
with
could
it.
probably take it up in the 5th if we needed to.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, if everyone's comfortable delaying this and sending it back to staff, why don't we do that? Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
all right, thank you. All right.
I know we're tabling it, but did you want to get public comment? Or did we get public comment?
Oh, yes, of course, thank you. Any public comments? I'm pardoning contract bid? No, okay. And no one online, Scott? Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's see, where does that put us?
Read it, you're all here.
Oh, the audit, it's financials. Wow, okay.
All of the numbers and they'll set you free.
Was this gonna be presented by?
Sure, you will introduce the auditor.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes, so we have completed our independent audit for the fiscal year 2024 and 25. We hired CJ Brown and Company CPAs to perform the audit. And we have Jonathan from the firm online, and he is going to do a presentation, and then afterwards, he and I will both be available for any questions you might have.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. I'm here to present the district's financial statements for the year. And Sherry, do you mind presenting the slides
Sure.
or putting the slides? Yeah, so thank you so much. So I'm here again to present your financial statements for 2025. Next page. Yeah. Okay, so as every year, professional guidance that we follow when we do our audit is governed by auditing standards set by AICPA. Whenever the district received federal grants, state or local grants, we always follow the federal state requirements, federal being the uniform guidance set by the White House, and the state requirements set by the agreement between the district and the state. GAAP, we follow the rules established by Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Audit process that we follow is divided into two phases. The first phase of the audit, we perform an interim fieldwork where we assess and note the district's controls and processes. So whatever changes that we noted, we document those and assess if it's operating effectively by performing control testing. Most recently, we perform control testing from your receipts, from the time that you issue customer bills to customers up to the time that it was collected by the district. Payment, disbursement, same thing, from the time the checks are issued to vendors up to the time that it was paid and recorded in the district's accounting software or books. Final fieldwork, this is the next phase. So we obtained the trial balance from the district, from Sherry and Heather. And from that set on, we audit all your accounts from assets down the line to revenues. Also, as part of our process, we do consider the risk of fraud whenever we perform our audit. We keep in mind to have a professional skeptic mindset, meaning when we do audit your accounts, we always make sure that it ties with supportive and corroborative evidence. Also, as part of our process, you also perform an interview with key management and one of your board members during the year. So on page 1 of your financial statements, we have issued an unmodified or clean opinion where the district's financial statements is indeed in accordance with U.S. accepted accounting principles. Management report. First and foremost, this is, I believe, included in your board packet. So as part of our process, as part of our testing of our controls, we noted a minor deficiency, which I believe the district already is implementing procedures to improve or enhance the timely deposit of cash receipts. Sherry, would you like to add the district's steps in making sure that this is addressed?
Sure. So what happened was at one point we had only one finance staff member in the office. So there just wasn't the availability to take the deposits to our bank, which is located in Scott Valley, on a frequent basis. So now that all 3 of us are in the office, we have decided that we're going to do weekly deposits, or if there is a large deposit over $500, then we'll take it that day and we'll do 2 that week.
Okay, can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
I know the bank I have has a mobile app that I can use. It's a business account, corporate account, and I can do deposits on the app. Is that possible?
So we do that with our checks.
Yeah.
This is cash.
Oh, it's cash, right? Okay. Are we accepting cash payments?
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
So, okay, so yeah, and accepting cash payments for water district is normal and acceptable, and we have also clients that is doing the same process, combination of cash or checks, and I think with that said, Sherry, thanks for sharing that insight about how the district is trying to address this, this issue that we came across. Next step is we on our management report, we noted that all the note disclosures that are included in our statements. Also, when we have performed our audit, no difficulties were encountered in performing the audit. Disagreements with management. So we don't have any disagreements. All of our audit adjustments were accounted for in our audit. Also, management have consulted with other outside accountant our consultant, which is Heather from RGS Solutions. And our firm did not consult with other outside CPAs. So on page 5 of your financial statements, we have noted that your net position, it went up by $5.5 million, which I will explain in the next slide. Yeah, next page. Okay, perfect. So page 6 of your statements, we noted that there was a change in your net position of $5.5 million, which can be attributed to an increase in your overall revenue plus capital contribution received during the year, subtracted by your overall expense, which came about to the $5.5 million. Okay, so your overall revenues, it went up by $1.4 million, which can be attributed to your operating revenues increasing by increasing by $1.7 million, primarily due to an increase in water consumption sales, which includes $1.6 million. And I heard a while ago during the discussion that why is there a big jump between 2025 and 2024? The reason being is that the new water rates, I believe, was implemented by the district in March 2024. So the increase is brought about by a full year's worth of increase during the year for the water rates. 2024 only included 3 months. Okay, and also aside from this, the 1.7 million increase in revenues were offset by a decrease in non-operating revenues, which includes a decrease in your investment return compared to the prior year. Your expense went up by $640,000, which can be attributed by personnel costs increase, operational and facilities costs, G&A, and professional services. So this is a summary of my presentation, which includes the district receiving a modified or clean opinion, net position going up by $5.5 million, your overall revenues increasing by $1.4 million, and expenses increasing by $640,000.
Okay.
Any questions by the board or public members?
Thank you very much. Let's see what questions we have. Mark, do you have any questions?
I have one. What's an approximate breakdown for that expenses increase of the 640 in particular?
Okay.
How much of it is the
okay. So personnel costs went up by $300,000, which can be attributed to an increase in your PERS contribution. And I believe there's also a payout of an employee no longer with the district. Operational and facilities costs going up by $140,000, which can be attributed by an increase in operating supplies, utilities, and there was an upgrade in the district's software. Also, G&A, there was an increase in insurance costs. There was a write-off made for an uncollectible customer account. Membership dues went up, and office supplies. Also, for professional services, it went up by $130,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the only question I have.
Okay.
Other questions have been answered already.
Thank you. Bob, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but have some comments, and I don't know if we want to handle them now or later. So, okay to go now. Sure. Okay.
Let's
I
dive in.
mean, as always, I think the district does a great job in making the numbers do what they're supposed to do and report them in the annual report correctly. The auditor's opinion is really what I would expect and what's been my experience with the district. To me, the more interesting thing is what the numbers mean and what it means for our future and what it means relative to the rate increase that we put in place and the plans that were associated with that. If you, I do very simplistic stuff just because that's about all I can handle. If I just take the total revenue minus total expenses and add back in depreciation, we get about $5 million of free cash, more or less. However, 1 million of that is the CZU surcharge. So it's really 4 million that we have the ability to do anything with. It would be interesting to go back and look at what the rate increase proposal study was, because my understanding was that was supposed to get us to, that the rate increases were supposed to get us to somewhere between 5 and 6 million of free cash, because that's effectively what we need in cash every year to be able to execute on the capital improvement program that our engineer would like to implement. And 4 million is short of that by a substantial amount. Given that the next increases are, I think we've already done 2 rate increases, I think.
24. Through March will be
The second.
the end of the second. Yeah.
So they go down from here,
Percentage wise, yes.
percentage wise.
Yeah.
And our costs continue to go up on the same relative 600 to 700,000 a year. My expectation is that most of the rate increase for the next 3 years will be consumed by increases in operating expenses, given the current path that we're on, more or less, somewhere between 60 and 80%. So what that means from a borrowing capacity point of view is that we are not going to be able to borrow as much as we need to in order to execute on that capital improvement program that we'd like to execute on, given the current path of our operating expenses. This is something that the board and the district staff have to deal with at some point, because we continue to be more or less on autopilot right now. And that's not going to get us where we need to be. My recommendation would be we go back and take a look at what the rate study said the numbers should be, do a comparison of where we are and figure out why aren't we getting to the point where we need to get to. So that's sort of one large area. The other one is not quite as big. I've got to scroll down to it here. It has to do with pensions. The market this past year was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you guys got 401ks or IRAs or what have you, but it was really it was a great year.
Yeah.
Absolutely great year. These years don't come along every year. Maybe this year will be as good, but the odds are that it won't be. The thing I found interesting is that our outstanding pension obligation only went down by 100,000, given that kind of an increase in the market. This is a flaming disaster. And if you start ratcheting down the expected rate of return, the number of outstanding pension debt gets really large really fast. It can be as much as about 2/3 of our operating revenue in any one year. Currently, we're on an autopilot program where we pay a loan sharking rate of 7 or 7.5% or something like that, because that's what the PERS expects to get. So that's what we have to pay, even though that's nowhere near what interest rates are nowadays. But we don't make any progress towards getting that pension debt down. I was really hoping that this year would result in a substantial decrease in our debt, that we could see that there was a correlation between market performance and our pension debt, but it doesn't look like that's the case. This is something we got to pay. pension in California is not dischargeable in any way, shape, or form other than payment. And at some point, this has to be rolled into the other outstanding debt that we have relative to deferred maintenance and deferred construction and the rest of it. And I hope, again, within the context of looking at what the rate increase was supposed to do in terms of the amount of cash that we would get from our community, that we would roll this into it as well. Unfortunately, no real positive news from that point of view. So I will be making a formal request if I have to have that put on the agenda. I'm hopeful that we can actually do that, to look back at what the rate study said without me having to make the formal request, but I will do it if I need to.
I think both of those points are excellent.
Okay, again, kudos to the staff for putting together the report. The numbers all hold together, but the meaning behind the numbers is what I'm mostly concerned about.
Thank you, Bob. Alina, any thoughts?
Yeah, let me grab my notes here. Yeah, I just had, was it page 9? I thought it was page 6. Let me make sure I have this right. I had it up. Oh, I think it's page 6. At the bottom, I just would add in fiscal year 2025 on that second to last sentence, so it just makes it clearer exactly about the district's net position when it's increased, because you otherwise you kind of have to go back up and line up the numbers there to figure out what they're talking about. So I'd have that suggestion. And then, I noticed that our professional services actually have gone up. Is that when we're contracting out to people to get work done?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I just a lot of these times I'm getting advertised, well, if we do this, then we don't have to go out to contract as much, and it'll save us money. And maybe, as everyone's, salary and benefits and everything are going up, that number's kind of just kind of going up as well for them. But I would kind of like to see it decrease when we get kind of made these promises again and again, that we'll see that number go down. So I guess more of a comment there. And then also it was really interesting to hear Bob talk about how the market has been going up, because it looks like our investments overall, our return in our investments have gone down. So I just really encourage the district to, find ways to invest our money appropriately, because it's kind of like money we can take away from asking our customers to have to pay. So just taking a look at that. And that's really all I had. Thanks.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? The investment income went down isn't it because we have less to invest? I mean, our loans are effectively exhausted at this point.
Yeah, the interest is going to fluctuate based on what we have in Leif or in the Santa Cruz.
Are they still paying around 4% or
roughly?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alina. I had a couple questions. I too was really fixated on the pension liability, and noticed that I guess in your audit that you were showing that a plus or minus 1% in the rate of return results in the liability changing from 2.9 million to over $9 million. And I guess I just like to get your thoughts as the auditor looking at us and so many other entities. How big of an issue is this? It seems like the unfunded pension liability is a universal problem right now. And what would you propose for ways that we can get a handle on both the debt that we have to pay the 7% on, as well as just this unfunded pension amount? And and as Bob pointed out, we had a stellar year, and yet it barely reduced that debt amount. Would love your thoughts.
Okay, so first of all, I want to start with the comment of Director Holtz. So CalPERS, their year is a year behind. So the basis of this year's pension liability calculation is based on 2024, and the entire pool, they have earned 1.7 billion in investment income. And part of the process, so what happened was there was a decrease in your net pension liability, not as much, from 5.8 to 5.7 million, unfortunately. And from what I heard, the reason why it's not so much of a decrease is because CalPERS, they are trying to be conservative. They maintained a 6.9% discount rate across the board, which they have been doing for the past 3 years. And as you can see on page 40 of the report, this table is just to show that let's say if CalPERS decided to decrease the discount rate, the district's net pension liability will go up by 9 million. And the only way that it will go down if CalPERS will try to increase the discount rate, which based on this table, it will go up by by close to $3 million or $2.8 million. So from what I heard from the grapevine, CalPERS is still leaning towards the 6.9% threshold.
Can I just add, the stock market returns for 2024 were even better than for 2025. NASDAQ up 29, S&P 23 to 25, Dow Jones 13 to 15, Russell small caps 10%.
And just want to add something. So we have a district that tried to issue a bond to pay off their net pension liability. However, yeah, so they pay it off, right? So guess what? The following year, they still have a pension liability.
You mean
So
they paid it off and still had the same
yes, they
liability?
still have, yeah.
And what's the logic there?
The logic there is because of the market, because how the market moves. So regardless, the district, even though they pay off their liability, they will still have a proportional share of the entire net pension liability pool.
So if they hadn't paid it off, it would have been even bigger.
Yeah, but apparently from what we've seen, they still owe a net pension liability. So this is something that
There's a lot.
this is something that apparently cannot go away. It will still be there. Yeah, so unfortunately. So I think it's just a balance of being able to have funds operational wise towards the future versus paying off your debt.
And regarding the 1.1 or whatever it was million in debt, what would you propose would be practical things that we might do? I mean, could we budget to pay that over 5 years or something just to try to take care of it? Or what are your thoughts?
I would say it all depends on the district's management and board members. If you have extra funds that you could pay off without affecting your operations going forward, yes, you may do that. Maybe I agree with your point. You could set up, let's say, a 5-year or 10-year plan to pay off or to slash down the debt if you have excess funds. But if you don't have excess funds, from what I've heard, that you're trying to build up your funds so that you'll have future capital.
Oops.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
Dropped out. Okay.
Forgot to pay his internet bill.
Yeah. But By the way, it'd be interesting to know how much of the returns CalPERS gets off of the guaranteed 7% they charge everybody that has pension debt. Because I guarantee you, every single public entity in the state has pension debt.
Yeah, they're making
And they're making a guaranteed. So if they can't make more than 9 or 10%, and a large portion of it is already 7%, you got to ask, who the heck's managing the money?
and the cost isn't trivial either.
Yep.
Well, I guess just maybe while we're hoping he'll reconnect here, I think there would be two items that I assume, and I guess if there's a board member that doesn't want to do this, I would like to follow up on Bob Foltz's suggestion that we both look at the contrast, the original rate study and what was projected, and try to figure out what changed. You know, how is it different if it is, and what accounts for that? Oh, okay.
Hello, sorry, no, I got disconnected from my computer. Apparently, so I'm connecting to on my phone right now.
Okay, very
I
good.
do
Thank you.
apologize about that, you know. As I was saying a while ago, so I like your point about trying to inject some payments towards the future to kind of decrease your debt in a way for net pension liability. But as I've mentioned, it all depends on how flexible the district is in paying off your debt. If you have excess funds, great. And right now, from the grapevine, I heard that you're trying to build up your funds for capital improvements.
Right, we do have a lot. Is there any restriction by either GAP or GASB that would prevent us that, for instance, defines excess funds in a way that you don't think we could do that? Or if we decide as a board this is something we want to tackle, you don't see an issue with it?
There's no issue with that said, with that regard. It all depends on, there's no GASB or accounting standards restriction. It's all about how the district is able to manage its funds going forward.
Okay, no, thank you. And then I wanted to ask you about the compensated absences. You said there was a new GASB 101 change?
Yes.
A new rule that came in. Can you just quickly give us kind of an outline of what changed?
Okay, so GASB 101, the only one that's changed right now is in the past, it's all about calculating the vacation and sick leave accrual or payout. Right now, they wanted to true it up by adding the FICA taxes, the FICA and Medicare taxes.
Ah, that wasn't included before.
No, that was not included before.
Raw payroll, no overhead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the reason
Wow.
being is that GASB, they wanted all district to be transparent, you know, by including the taxes as well.
No, that makes 100% sense. I had no idea. I was wondering because I was just going through some of the changes and was curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I love that.
Okay. Especially since you have the answer right at your fingertip. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was the prepaid expenses changed over $500,000. Is there something that jumps out there that maybe I just didn't see? What was the reason for that?
That's a great question.
I was looking at basically the change of cash flow, you know, cash flow change from category to category, from the fiscal year to the new one. And the other one that, well, there's others I'm going to ask you about, which is the OPEB liability changed to 180,000 and pension liability 550. Again, if those are easy for you to talk about, that would be great. I don't want to have you, you know, I don't want to tie us up for too long.
Hold on, let me open my financial statements for the meantime. Give me about 1 minute.
Okay. All right.
I want to trust me. I want to answer all your questions as much as possible. Yeah. And I like, thank you for your questions, it means that the board is really into it, I like it.
We're yeah, okay. And on that same order, the change in assumptions resulted in a change of 300,000. And so I just they're pretty big numbers, and so I just wanted to understand, was there something fundamental trend like that's going on from fiscal year to fiscal year? And on Bob's point about the net pension liability, I noticed that looking at the table of returns, given either 2024's return rate or this last year's return rate, on a weighted average basis, it looked like a terrible rate of return. And I guess I haven't done any research on CalPERS, but the table that you showed, just doing a weighted average of those, looked like a very low return, like sub 5%.
So let's start with that. So you're talking about the table on page hold on page 47.
Okay. Hopefully it's the same page I've got here.
Yeah. Yeah, page 47, where it's the schedules of the district's proportionate share of the net pension liability. Is that what it is?
I'm almost there. Yeah.
Yeah.
47. No. So sorry. I should have referenced this. It wasn't a table. It was basically a list of about a dozen investments that included private equity, different stock mixes. It was, I'm assuming, the portfolio mix of CalPERS, but maybe I had misinterpreted it. And only reason I bring it up is because I was just shocked at how low it looked on a weighted average basis. And I know CalPERS is huge and complicated, and they are their own entity, but actually that table might be close. Let me just see if I can't find it really fast. Otherwise, about it.
Maybe page 40.
40?
Page 40?
Let's see.
Page, yeah, is it bottom?
That's it. That's the one, page 40. Yeah, the asset class. Yeah.
Is it the bottom page 40?
No, the middle, the dozen line items there, global equity, treasury. Global equity cap weighted 30%.
There you go. I gotcha.
Yeah, that's the one. Because all of those returns, except for private equity, were abysmal, and private equity is really low too. So maybe I don't understand how that figures in, but it just seemed terrible for either year.
Yes, I agree with you. It's quite terrible. I don't know how CalPERS invest their money, or if they really are trying to make sure that they're investing all district, cities, and governmental municipalities' monies into its proper bucket. I cannot attest to that, but I agree with your comments.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know if you again had a answer right off your fingertip, but we'll just leave it at that. It's just bizarre. Any luck on the other question, just about the statement of cash flow changes? That a lot of them were pretty big.
Okay.
Any insights on those?
So let's start first with the I think your first question, the prepaids.
Right.
Okay, so for the prepaids, in the prior year, you have a huge prepaid expense. Normally, prepaid expense is due to timing as to when the district paid off their expense.
This would be like a deposit on a contract, or?
Yes. Let me compare last year's and this year's. Hold on. Give me a few minutes. I'm almost there. Yeah, because
Okay.
I just opened my computer, so so give me a few minutes. I'm almost there.
Yeah, I hope this isn't a rabbit hole, and I apologize to everybody for going down it, but
I
the
know.
numbers just jumped out at me as being big.
Yeah, so right now I'm comparing last year's to this year's. So last year, the district paid its property insurance for fiscal year 24 and 25 for $282,000. And before the year end closes for the prior year. So that's why there's a big jump. Yeah, that's why there's a big number in the prior year. And this year, the property insurance for that is due to SDRMA was paid after 7/1/25.
Okay.
So meaning the
Hopefully,
district prepaid its insurance way in advance, in the prior year, as opposed to this year when they just paid it off after year end.
okay, and is the same kind of timing issue at play for the accounts payable change of 600,000?
Let me go to accounts payable. Uh, Accounts payable, same thing, it's based on the timing of the payments made, between vendors during the year. That's why, there's a big jump.
Okay. And then the 180,000 change for other post-employment benefits?
Okay, so for OPEB, let me
Yeah.
go there right now. Okay. OPEB. Okay. Okay, so OPEB, the reason why there's a decrease, right? Let me go to that page. Hold on. Yeah, net OPEB liability went down from 1.4 million to 1.18 million. It's because of OPEB, the district, when they hired the actuary, the actuary, they have decreased the discount rate from hold on. Yeah, they've decreased the discount rate from 1 point no from 4.8 no from sorry. They have increased the discount rate from 4.18 to 5.89%. You could go to the bottom page, 36 and 35.
And that discount, so this is the discounting the future cash flows at a different discount rate,
Yes.
mostly resulted in that change. And,
Yes.
and who determines the discount rate?
It's
Is that-
it's the OPEB actuary that you guys hired. So it's something on our expertise. It's something that we just it's a number that we just grabbed from the OPEB actuary that was hired by the district.
Okay. All right. So you're okay with that change?
Yes, I'm okay with that change.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're the experts, so we just rely on the report.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Okay, and I think that might be it for those kinds of picky questions. Okay. Oh, the only other one I had was the change of assumptions resulted in a $300,000 difference. Let's see, where is that?
What
Was
page?
oh shoot, yeah, it was just after the OPEB stuff. Okay, you know what? If it's not jumping out at you, let's not worry about it because we got a lot to cover here.
And if you have questions after this meeting, you could always call us.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I can talk with Sherry and give you a call.
Sure.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate your question. Yeah.
Oh, did you have a question?
I had
Oh, so sorry.
2 quick items, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure that they're for you so much as Fury. I guess I want to echo the idea that having an understanding of our long-term expenditure trends would be really helpful. It seems standard practice to include 1 or 2 years of comparison. And at some point, it would be really interesting to look at 5 or 10 years of comparison, maybe with line charts or something like that, that could help give us a sense of growth rates and stuff like that over that longer haul. And then I guess I didn't see any in the audit, and I did not read every word. Any discussion of prevailing wage, and I'm not sure how the district affected by prevailing wage for internal operations and contract.
All contracts.
Yeah.
All contracts are subject to prevailing wage. Okay,
Yeah.
and so, but in-house work is done at in-house rates, which may differ, depending. Okay, I guess that's all I wanted to know. Thanks very much.
No, thank you. Any other comments from directors? Any comments from the public? You don't want to wade into this?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I guess, are we approving the?
Yes.
Is that
So I will make the motion that the board approves the district's financial statements for the fiscal year 2024-25.
Okay, I'll second that. Fine, yeah,
President Russ,
yes,
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Largay,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Holtz.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Thank you, Jonathan.
yes.
Yeah, thank you
you
for
very
having me tonight, and I do appreciate your questions. I want to say have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. So where does that leave us? Okay, I think that leaves us, so thank you, I should have printed this out too. The committee appointments, okay. And that
Jason.
yeah, Jason.
Jason.
The purpose of the item is for the board to consider and appoint members of the board to the district subcommittees for the calendar year 2026. For the board policy manual, no more than 2 board members may be assigned to each subcommittee. The subcommittees currently standing are administration, budget and finance, engineering, and environmental. With that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. I would like to appoint to the 2 directors for the admin committee. I would like to appoint Alina and Brian. That's okay. Alina, is that okay?
That's fine by me, thanks.
Okay. Actually, I didn't have you for environmental, or did I say environmental or
You said
admin? I didn't have you for admin.
That's just fine as well.
Okay.
As far as I got.
I have only, so sorry, only Alina on admin.
Sorry,
okay.
you must have 2.
I thought we did not have to have 2.
No.
We have to have
I disagree
at
with
least
that.
1.
Board policy manual says up to 2.
Up to 2.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So. What other
And then,
committees?
okay. And then on environmental, I would like to propose Alina and Brian on environmental committee. Okay. On engineering, Mark and myself, Bob. And on finance, Brian and myself, Bob Russ. And I guess we're looking up.
No, go ahead.
You're okay? Okay. Does that need a motion?
Yes.
Does it? Okay. Well, I would like to move those appointments for the 4 committees as I've just outlined.
Okay.
Are we not doing board comment at all?
Yes.
Yeah, board comment. Okay. Any comments, Elena?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to have two on admin, but I think it's sometimes nice to have two directors to bounce things off of before it goes to the full board. So that's the only comment I would have there. And then also, like, if I can't attend for any reason, I think that cancels the meeting.
Well, I know, Brian, you are over already. Are you open to being on that?
I am open to serving. I think that the cadence of meetings, my capacity to attend all of them may be affected, and I hope I can fulfill the,
Yeah.
I think the expectation is that you only miss 2 meetings of the committees. I would do my best to honor that provision, but if necessary, I will serve. That's fine.
Well, I don't want to sign you up for something that you're already worried about. I guess if you've already got a big load because you are also involved with the Santa Margarita Groundwater Agency as
Right.
well,
That is correct.
which is a big deal. Why don't we go with you alone, Lena? And we can always make an appointment, I guess, later on, right? Any other comments from board members on any of these appointments? Bob, anything? No? Mark?
No.
Okay, Brian? Okay. Then I guess we had a motion. I so moved.
Okay. Public, any
Oh.
comments on your board appointments?
Okay, any public comments? And Scott, anyone online? Okay.
No.
All right, thank you for keeping me on protocol here. Okay, I don't remember, did we get a second?
I'll
No.
second it.
Okay, so Mark seconding it. All right, why don't we do a roll call vote? Thanks, Lynn.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Abstain.
Director Largay,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Fultz.
Abstain.
Motion
Okay. All right, and now a board appointment for these, I guess it's slightly misspelled here. Right. Oh, for public applicants first.
Santa Margarita.
Well, Santa Margarita is actually on the agenda first. I think that's an older, yeah, it's an older one. Okay. All right.
The purpose of this item is to appoint members of the board of directors to the Santa Margarita Groundwater Agency for the appointment for the 2026 calendar year. The district has 2 representatives on the 11-member board of directors. Tonight, the board should consider to appoint 2 members to serve as the district representatives and 1 member to serve as an alternate.
Okay. I would like to nominate Brian Largay to serve on the agency, myself, and Alina as the alternate. Any discussion? Brian, any thoughts you'd like to add to?
I'm happy to participate in that capacity. I've signed up for a committee that is just getting its work underway and will continue of this year. And so that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Mark, any thoughts?
No.
Okay.
That's reasonable to me.
All right. Bob? No. And Alina?
Yeah, no, nothing for me.
Okay. I guess I'd like to make any comments from the public. Okay. Like to make a motion that those nominations, myself and Brian for being on the board and Alina as an alternate be approved by the board.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Largay,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Fultz.
Abstain.
Motion's
Okay. Now we're on to, public committee applicants. All right.
The purpose of this item is to appoint the public or community members to the district subcommittees. And appointments are for the 2026 calendar year. And in accordance with the board policy manual, there must be at least one public member and no more than 3. Okay, then back over to President Rice.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, what I'd like to do here is outline a process that we went through that I was very pleasantly surprised to get a huge consensus by the board for 3 members each of the public being appointed to our 4 committees. And so maybe I can ask just up front, is the public interested in making any comments about any applicant or any of the public committees? Anyone online, Scott? Okay. Then I would just like to present, Jason compiled our confidential votes from each of the 5 directors, and there were no conversations amongst any of us or between any of us about these. So that's why I was kind of amazed. On the admin committee, the nominations would be Adams, Canton, and Dolson. On the engineering committee, it would be Cleveland, Grace, and Roush. On the environmental committee, it would be Duffy, Franks, and Zahatar. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that close. And on the finance committee would be George, Larson, and Ramos Beban. Okay, did you get all of those? Thank you. All right. So I would like to make a motion for the board to approve these public committee nominations.
Okay.
I would like board comment, please.
Sure. So sorry. Bob?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give folks the way I was approaching it, which was to see if everybody that was new to the process could find a spot on the committee. The committees, from my point of view, are really important. They're areas for the community to be able to provide input into what the district's doing, to provide guidance to the board, but also to act as a way for people to get familiar with the district in case somebody were inspired enough to run for a director in the future. And to build a team, a farm team, you might say, of potential director candidates. I was happy that I think everybody but 2 people that were not previously on a committee actually got onto a committee. I know that there were some people that were incumbents that didn't get on it, but I do feel also that these positions should be rotated around. That is, to have someone serve in committee for years and years and years, I don't think is necessarily in the best interest of the district. I think we ought to give an opportunity to people that are new to the process, that are volunteering their time to actually have an opportunity to serve. So there were a couple people that were not going to be able to accommodate. It sounds like I'm disappointed in that, but I think we can move forward with it as you described.
Thank you. Mark?
I appreciate the public interest in these committees. For a 2nd year in a row, we have had more than enough applicants that we were not able to seat everybody. I like that. Although 2 years isn't a trend yet, I like the way that is headed. Similar to what Director Foltz was mentioning, I see committee members participating here as them showing interest in the district with the potential of one of these individuals being board members. I think that everybody that's on the board right now was on a committee before being on the board. So that's the initial exposure to getting more involved in the district and being on the board. So.
Thank you. Alina?
Yeah, I had a suggestion, and that would be to move Robles to environmental to replace Zahirta, because overall they got more votes from everyone. We just kind of had them split into two different, we're kind of arguing, I think, between board members of where to put them, but they got 4 votes versus the 3 votes. And I really feel that overall they had a much better background to be there. Zahirta's resume was absolutely wonderful, but the cover letter was very hard to follow. Caltrans was spelled, I think, different every single time. I think the last employment was kind of Macy's, which doesn't really correlate as well, and it hasn't really been in the field working until 2016. And when I look at Robles' resume, it's just absolutely phenomenal, and I would hate for them not to be able to find a place on the committees. And I just have to say that there was a lot to cover in this one meeting. And so I suggest maybe next year, the first week of December, we vote on the president and next, all the committee members in the next meeting in that, so we can really hit the ground running in January and also not be missing these committee meetings in January. And I already see we lost some of the people who had applied. They were online and now they're no longer here. So, but yeah, and I just want to reiterate, I would really love to move Robles to environmental.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
I appreciate the process. I am grateful that there's such interest in serving. That's really fantastic. And I guess no one's online, but if you ever like the recording, thanks for putting in your name in the hat. It's really wonderful to have that kind of support from folks. I actually made the same observation that Alina did about the split vote on Robles, and that does seem odd that someone who was recommended for 2 committees ends up with none. And so I would forward that to your consideration, but I'll defer to your work as the chair to sort that out.
Well, they're good points. I mean, and yeah, Robles, yeah, in a way, the only person that scored pretty well on both. I hope we haven't lost that person. But I think the board voted, and I'd like to respect the process that we went through. Any other comments from the public? Any other directors? Okay. Then I would like to move that these nominations be approved by the board.
I'll second that.
President Russ.
We have to go to public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry, I had asked for public comment. You said there is some?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I had asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we have a second, so I guess roll call vote, right? Okay.
Yes.
President Russ.
Yes.
Vice President Lane.
Abstain.
Director Largay.
Yes.
Director Smalley.
Yes.
Director Foltz.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay. It looks like is Sherry up again on the reserve policy? Okay.
So, this is the reserve policy again. I presented this at the November 6th meeting and the board suggested a couple of changes. So I took it back to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting on November 12th. We actually had some really great discussions at that meeting and decided it needed even more changes. So we finalized everything at the December 10th meeting. So we are bringing it back. There were no changes to the balances, the target balances. It was just adding clarifying language. I did include in the packet a clean version and then also a red line version for all of the changes from the last time it was presented to the board to now. And with that, I'm open for any questions.
Okay. Alina, any questions?
Yeah, I just noticed one thing on there. It says for our operating reserves, it states that we have 2 years to replenish it if it falls below the target amount, and all the others were 3. But on page 6 it says 3 years for all reserves, so it kind of had a conflicting message there.
Okay, I can rewrite that.
But that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Brian, any comments?
No, I really appreciate, Shuri, the work that went into this. The changes recommended in finance were implemented, and hopefully this will work well for all involved.
Okay. Mark?
Yes, I counted that this was reviewed by committee 7 times in 2025. And I think that that's a good use of getting committee input into something, because I know that there were, it was an iterative process that you were bringing back, or that was brought back prior to your being involved to it. So I appreciate that. I do have a couple of specific questions. The first is more a comment. On page 315, the capital reserve target is 3 million, which you indicated is the average annual capital spending over the last 3 years. But we're targeting a loan of somewhere between 16 and 19 million. Can we effectively spend 5 to 6 million, if that's the size of a loan we truly get, if we've only been spending 3? So think of, this is the reserve policy, but I want you to think about that, given, because that question is going to come up on the loan later. So I don't need to discuss that or have answers to that tonight. But on the emergency reserve, the replenishment timeline paragraph states that the funds will be restored from rate revenues or insurance reimbursements. Should that also include, I know it's a picky point, but should it also include FEMA or other governmental sources as replenishment for that? Because I think at times we could be spending to repair things after the CZU fire from emergency reserve, but then gets replenished by FEMA. So we should give ourselves the flexibility to replenish with that. That's all the questions. That's my questions.
Well, I appreciate the fact that it has taken 7 meetings and all that to get to this point, and there has been a lot of discussion. I think this policy is borderline irresponsible in 2 areas. One area is in the use of what I call sort of weasel words, rather than say the district will maintain an emergency reserve of 250,000, it will target. That can be used to make use of the funds. I recognize all the things here conditioned for use, but that can be used to basically say we're going to use it for something. I don't like the use of the word target. I think I mentioned that before. The amounts are, for at least the emergency reserve, are too small. We spent almost 4 million recovering from the CZU fire. Costs have gone up at least 50% since then, if not 75%, and in some cases double. We need to be maintaining a much, much larger emergency reserve. From my point of view, I think I'd said to Heather 7 or 8 million was sort of where I thought it needed to be, given the realities of today's world. But here we are. I can only hope and pray that the next disaster that comes along won't be on the scale of a CZU. Because if it is, we're going to be in trouble with this reserve policy. So I'd say the other thing in terms of the amount of spend, if you look at the capital infrastructure, the usable life, current replacement costs, the district needs he's spending a minimum of 6 million a year just to stay even with the,
I agree, we should.
and it's 8 million if you actually want to get ahead.
Right.
And deal with the fact that for 30 years, this district did darn little in terms of infrastructure improvements. So it's a monumental thing. I get that freeing up cash out of the current reserve policy for this will help. But I think we're being penny wise and pound foolish on that one. So I will not be able to support this because of that. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate the work. I do. I appreciate the amendments that have been made. They give me a little bit of hope that future boards may be responsible in this area. But I cannot agree to 4 million as the emergency reserve, not with my experience with CCU and other disasters we've had.
Have had our share of disaster. Thank you. I guess my only broad comment is since I've been on the budget committee with Brian and obviously some other public members, it has been a long process, and we have iterated many times, and it is recognizing that it's a trade-off of freeing up some cash because we do have a lot of construction projects to do, and if we actually set aside an emergency fund of 7 or 8 million, we're actually inadequate. We actually need to borrow money or make more money somewhere else to even get to that point. So I appreciate that a disaster of the CZU size would really hurt, and we would be pressed to deal with it. But I think that this is a good trade-off, and I'd like to support it. Did you have any comments, Sherry, just from what you've heard from the board directors?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Any public thoughts? Anyone online, Scott? No? You don't want to wade in?
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah. All right. Well, if no other, yes,
I did have one other comment. In terms of refreshing funds, does this policy restrict or prohibit the board or the district from using a Prop 218 process?
I don't think it does. I think we always have that.
I would say no.
Yeah.
Okay, because it does say how we replenish the funds, and I don't see Prop 218 being used there. So that's why I'm asking. If the intent is that we could use Prop 218, then it would seem to me that you would want to include that in the language so that no one in the future might initiate some sort of a lawsuit saying that your policy does not allow you to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah. So if there's no other comments.
Well, at least help in that regard.
Well,
yeah, well, still won't support it, but I will help.
Well, can we put in parentheses, Bob supports Prop 218 language?
No. Okay, just saying you guys might want to consider that.
Okay.
Because I think there is somebody that might.
No, you have an excellent point, and it is definitely a source of replenishment. So, I guess I would then like to move that we adopt the capital reserve policy as written, and however add as part of replenishment potentially for any of the three categories of Prop 218 option. Maybe just add that into the language, because I think you have standard language on each one for what might replenish it. And
amend the change of the 2 years.
Right, yeah, that's
And then also adding FEMA for.
and FEMA. That's correct. Thank you. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, with those amendments, I'd like to make that move. Move
I'll
that the board
second that.
approve that. Okay.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Largay,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
Director Foltz.
No.
Motion has passed.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're slowly ticking through. So urban water management plan. Okay, Jason.
This item is to award a contract for the development of the district's 2025 urban water management plan. The district issued an RFP on November 21st of 2025. And the RFP was due by January 7th of this year. And we received 5 qualified proposals. The district focused on overall value, not just the lowest cost, and used a scoring metric that includes the actual cost at 40%, the understanding and description at 20%, the ability to stay on cost and on schedule at 20%, the overall experience of the firm at 10%, and the proposal quality at 10%. The chart is up there. You can see that the lowest bid was with West and Associate at 40,000, well, 38,400 or 38,000 with a option if there's any review and changes from DWR for another 2,400. So the motion before the board is to authorize general manager to execute an agreement with Weston Associates for a contract not to exceed 40,400. Also like to point out that the district contacted Mesa Water, the city of Blythe, the city of Shafter, and the city of Banning, who were previous customers of Weston Associates. And all agencies reported high quality work products, good responsiveness and communication, smooth DWR review process with few if any revisions, and on-time delivery. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay,
Mark?
sure. I know in their cover letter that they address the 2025 guidebook and the changes that DWR is implementing into that, and that guidebook changes are only coming out in, it was either December or January. So their fact they're pointing that out in their cover letter, I think is great. They're following that. And I also like the fact that they are going to provide a report, in quotes now, that staff can enjoy reading. So I expect you to enjoy it, Chris. So with that, I liked the proposal that I was seeing from Weston Associates. So.
Okay. Alina, any thoughts?
Yeah, I really like that West had extensive work in actually doing these, or the work in the urban water management plans. I think the Exodus, they hadn't done quite, they were the second ones that ever that came in the lowest bid, and they hadn't done exactly this work before. So I really appreciated the one that you guys had picked with the lowest bid, you know, has been doing that work. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Brian?
I have no comments.
Okay, and Bob?
Well, given the DWR's perverted definition of urban, given that we are the farthest thing you can possibly be from urban, but given that this is a requirement to be able to get grant funding and the like, you know, the lowest cost for me is I'm glad we're at 40. To me, it's like 60, but at least we're not 20, what we used to be. So thank you for doing that. You know, these tend to just, I don't know that we actually use them very much in day-to-day operations. Again, I think it's more of a, we got to do it to qualify for grants and to meet state requirements. But we're a very static district. Our population doesn't change that much. Our water usage is 25% lower than it was 10 years ago. You know, we really don't have the kind of issues that a lot of districts have around the state. And for that, we should be very thankful. I'm hopeful that the report basically will reflect that, say, yeah, these guys are doing things great. The conservation's off the charts. Everything's fine. They got plenty of water going forward. We've got 5 years now of where we're going to have pretty good rainfall. I don't see us really in a tough position here. So I'm glad they're coming in at the lowest one.
Okay, no, thank you. All right. I agree. I think this looks good, and just wanted to ask you, Chris, if you had any thoughts on the decision or what you've heard. Nope.
No,
you're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're ready to enjoy the report.
I'm so ready.
Okay. All right. guess I would like to move then that, oh, public comment, so sorry. Anybody online? No? Okay, and you're good, okay. All right, then I'd like to move that the board approve this contract to Weston Associates. For the amount specified is it 40,000?
40,400.
400 and okay,
Okay, I'll second that.
President Russ,
yes,
Vice President Lang,
Yes.
Director Largay,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes,
Director Fultz.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
okay. Very good, thank you. Okay, boy, we guess we have to, yeah, thank you. Review the board minutes,
Well, this was consent agenda,
oh,
right?
consent, oh, okay.
I don't wish to pull
Okay. All right, any other comments from any directors on the board minutes? No, all right, then we'll move on. District reports, we had gotten the November report from Sherry last time. It's now part of the record. I don't think we have anything to say on that either, right?
Yes, actually I do.
Okay, all right.
But very quickly, and that is, now that we have a reserve policy that's in place, would we be able to, on the cash balance total table that you have there between restricted and unrestricted, maybe add a third line of restricted by board policy or something like that? Because we do have right now somewhere around, what is it, 7 plus 4 months of operating that is currently sitting in a reserve.
So I do have the reserve calculation on the next page.
I understand that, but somehow the problem you've got here is that the table is what really jumps out.
Sure.
That's what the communication is all about. And with it not being in the table, it makes it look like we have $12 million of unrestricted cash. If we can do something to flag or point or put another line or something to say that that is not cash that can be used for any reason. And that includes, of course, the 1 million or whatever is left in the CZU surcharge that we get. That's also restricted as well, unless that's in the restricted part. Is that already in restricted?
It's in restricted, isn't it?
CZU
Yeah,
surcharge.
It's already,
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, if we can at least separate out the reserve policy in the table or flag it some way to make it so that people in the community can understand that we have money set aside in case of things going sideways or south.
I can do that. I'll update that.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
that
think
because
that'd
at
be
one point in time, our reserves were down to $250,000 in 2017 and people were freaking out.
all right, thank you. Written communications. I guess we had heard about both of these. Any follow-up on those?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. No other informational material. So looks like we're ready to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody. We almost ended by 9. Almost. Thank you much. We covered a lot of ground today.
Indeed.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.